Welcome to Cat the Minion YouTube channel. My name is Teresa, but you can call me Cat. I'm doing a card of the day reading. It's going to be an extended. I've got 3 decks here, and my intention is to get 1 card from each of them. I've got the Mystical Shaman Oracle deck. I've got the Wild Unknown Animal Spirit deck. And I've got this Lucy Cavendish Blessed Be deck. I did clear and shuffle these, so I'm going to go ahead and get a card. Not a chunk. 1 card. I know what card I'm thinking of, but I don't know what's going to come out. They're a little bit big, so I'm going to be a little creative in my... Of course, it's 2 of them. Just get like a million goddamn cards lately. $36, a blessing on your wisdom. And then in a challenge position, number 5 here, a blessing on your day. This gives me like a lower level Hierophant energy nestled in pentacles instead of up in the major arcana. $36, a blessing on your wisdom. This breaks down to 9, which could be the Hermit. But it's also giving me Judgment, because in my music deck, the song that I have on the Judgment card is Wisdom by Johnny Lang. I'm going to come back to these. I didn't bring out the Blessing book. I brought out the books for the other decks, though. So let me get, hopefully, 1 Animal Spirit card. 5 and 9 is 14, so we're dealing with balance again. Tempering. Right? A blessing on your day, a blessing on your wisdom. It's like how to apply what you've learned to what's going on in your day-to-day life. And the challenge is the application. It's like, okay, yeah, I understand what I'm supposed to be doing, but what does it mean? Damn it, this fucking card again. I feel like every time I do these cards, I get the wolf. Alright, we're dealing with these lower chakra energies again. Mostly sacral here. The wolf is that sort of benevolent protector leader kind of character. And when he's... and I'm saying he because it gives me masculine energy. Alpha male. It's like yesterday with the Mars inverted, is sort of combative immaturity of trying to control everything, right? Because it's specifically in the book it says when the wolf is out of balance, he's like, it's a little bit like King of Pentacles or King of Wands inverted. When the wolf is out of balance, the wolf is someone who expects others to toe the line, to do things the way they want them to. It's like, this is... if you don't solve this math problem the way you were taught in class, you're going to get marked down for it, even if you came up with the solution in a different way. You're not doing it right. Give me the controller. I don't like the way you're loading the dishwasher, so I'm going to redo it. Wow, I don't know if I've ever gotten this card before. The Curse. Number 14, inverted. Kind of reminds me of Lady Gaga there. Silence. Being silenced. Okay, now what I was going to say, if this is a king inverted, king can be a 1 or a 14, which breaks down to a 5, which is answering this 5 number right here. But what else does come out but 14, another 14 that breaks down to a 5. So there's this idea of something shifting. Let me read the curse, because I don't know if I've ever gotten that card before. I don't even remember seeing it. I must have read it when I first got it and I read the book and looked at all the cards. 14. Let's see what this is about. The curse. The curse. Refers to the limiting stories of our ancestors and the karma from former lifetimes that preordains the events of our lives. It is the source of negative patterns, and it can show up as disease, a destructive force, or a blockage on our creative energy. Right? This is the only way you can do it. The curse holds us hostage to a false story that we confuse for reality. Recognizing the original wound that is playing out in our life can heal it. This is what I was talking about yesterday, of the healing of past relationships having to do with the ability to move forward in this sort of freedom of what you're doing now. This card in particular talks about ancestral stuff and karma, right? Karma, the wisdom card in other decks is called karma. It's like the way that you learn is going through these struggles. And here, it's like you're trying to apply what you've learned to your life right now, but you're ending up in this sort of 5 of Pentacles of feeling left out in the cold. It's like, why doesn't anybody listen to me? Why isn't it working for me? I feel like everything I do is wrong. Someone's always judging me. That's the kind of karma, and it can come from other lifetimes that you're having. We call it past lives, but everything's happening simultaneously. What's really interesting is that I considered that the dreams I was talking about yesterday, where I have people standing in for other people in my life, and it had to do with healing stuff in with people that I've encountered previously, like in this lifetime. And I had considered to me that the events that were playing out in the dream could have been me sitting like inside of me in another parallel lifetime where this is the scenario that's playing out. And as that happens in that other lifetime, it has an impact on what needs to be healed in me in this lifetime. So that's another thing that ties us to these past lives. But sometimes they're current parallel lives, and essentially every single other life that we've had, whether it's past or future, is parallel. It's just that the distance is in time instead of space. sometimes it's time and space, because you could be across the world, but hundreds of thousands of years apart. But in terms of distance, they're um, like 4 light years away in Alpha Centauri is the same distance as 800 years ago. Um, but the curse can also, this idea of ancestral karma, it's like if your family has some kind of trauma event that keeps recurring in the generations, you know, um, like um, loss of loss through war of either people or goods, or like a continual famine story or something like that. Some kind of, or like severe anxiety through your family in several generations. Whatever your family curse is, it's, you know, it's like uh, for you to, you know, break the cycle or to create healing so that that wound doesn't keep occurring, either for you or for like the rest of your family or your kids if you have kids. It's it might not seem fair. It's like, why is it up to me to heal this family curse for, like, you know, 4 generations, 7, 8, 10 generations of my family where this bullshit keeps happening? It's like uh it seems incredibly unfair, but it's sort of the only way to get your own DNA off this broken record, to um, heal your heal it and open up, right? Because it's sort of like every time this spiral comes around, it's going to get stuck in that same place. It's the record's going to skip, and you're like, why am I in this constant broken record? Like, what the hell? So that, like, you have to be aware of it, and then sort of enter into this, like, um, intentional healing journey. Okay. So with it inverted, be aware of your actions. Act with impeccable intention so as not to create a debt or karma that sooner or later someone has to pay. What you do to others, you also do to yourself and to the people you love the most. Now you have the opportunity to clean it up. So basically what I was just saying. But it's like, first you have to be aware of it, you know, like if your parents treated you a certain way when you were little that you remember not liking, they yelled at you instead of explaining stuff to you, if they were really strict and it made you anxious, or, you know, they were neglectful and weren't really attentive, or, you know, any of those kinds of things, um, you would want to be aware if you're repeating those cycles. So if you have kids, you don't want to treat them the same way that you didn't like when you were growing up. And I find it extremely hard to believe that people suddenly don't remember what it was like to be a child, because the traumas would affect you emotionally, um, even if you don't, like, remember I don't know why some people don't remember stuff from before they were 8, but there's going to be an emotional engram in there somewhere. Um, you know, I mean, I can remember at least datably clearly until, like, right around 2, but it's hard to date those early memories against, like, factual dated things in reality, and everything kind of blends together, so it's usually comes out as like, when I was little, But there's a definite marker between being, you know, like 2 and 3 and like 5 and 6. But again, it's sort of like the general idea is whether you remember it or not, you don't want to keep repeating toxic patterns in your life on, like when you get to be an adult, you don't want to act in that same way that was infringed upon you, whether you're doing it to your own children or to other people's children or to other adults in your life or anybody in between. So these cards today they're still a continuation, but it's um, it's speaking not only to it's sort of touching more on the emotional wounding that was the undercurrent of yesterday's reading. It's like what causes the these masculine fire energies to be combative and distorted. And just as I say that, somebody's dogs are making a ruckus outside. It's like, oh, my dogs are barking. Um, the bark is worse than the bite. Oh, there's a wolf on here. What the hell? Oh, right here, there's a wolf. I'm also sensing that this does still have to do with the new moon energy coming in on the 19th. Is there 10 here? 10 and 1 and 5 is 20. No, oh! These cards add up to 19. So the curse and the day. So it's like, today is the day that I'm trying to break this curse. I've had enough wisdom. Hermit going number 9 within. And this kind of is a little bit like the Temperance card. There isn't necessarily fire here, but there's this... She's like pouring water out of her sleeve. No. Where am I going? The Hanged Man is the water Neptune energy, and the Hermit is Virgo, which is ruled by Mercury. So this is literally a current, electrical current. But there's also the grounding, right? We see that with this energy, this pentacle type energy, this earth energy. You know, the Hierophant would be Taurus energy, but that could also be air because of Venus. But I did say this was on a lower vibration because we're still dealing with this curse energy. It's like you have to go deeper. You have to get down into the electrical units in the body, like the little tiny DNA itself, and unwind it, right? There's a spiral here. DNA is also a spiral. It's like light refraction. Let me see what the wolf needs to get in balance, because I think that's what I'm missing. 83. Just load that in. Still smells really papery. Okay. When in balance, reliable, democratic, and fearless. When out of balance, judgmental and dominating. And the idea is to practice letting go. Okay. Now, I don't know if it came out in the reading, but I've seen the Eight of Cups a couple of times in the last couple days, whether I was just kind of shuffling out a few cards for myself or in a reading that I was watching, I think. The Eight of Cups does have to do with letting go. I also saw the Four of Pentacles, which is that when to hold, when to fold energy as well. 3 times 6 is 18. That's the moon. Okay. 5 times 3 is 15. 30. Yeah, I mean, there's a little bit of devil energy here as well. It's Saturnian energy of Saturn devouring his children. Also the master of time, Chronos, having to do with things happening over time scales. So we are dealing with things that have affected you over time, but you're also again dealing with those other time lines of past lives, concurrent lives, and things like that. So I think on top of this pressure cooker of these elements leading up to this new moon, what's really going on is, what can you learn? What wisdom is being imparted to you from different aspects of yourself, right? These could be different lives. Here you're a raven, here you're an owl, here you're a wolf, and now you're this high priestess here. But the other aspect of this that's not being shown is the hermit, the old man. You could be this rock over here in another lifetime. You could be these flowers, you're these bare branches. In another lifetime, you're this little crystal spike down here. In another lifetime, you're the moon. Okay, so what are you learning from all of these different aspects of yourself? There's even some blueberries in here. What did you learn from lifetime as blueberries? Each of these lifetimes is a different perspective, right? When you say, this is like a little bit ruling with an iron fist, even though you're trying to be benevolent and protective. I don't want anybody to go through what I've gone through, but unless they do it exactly the way that I did it, then it's not going to work, and they have to do it this way. But you don't always have to do it a certain way, because that falls into this curse energy of that broken record. So we're shifting, right? Letting go, sort of. It's one of those, like, you can't see the forest for the trees kind of energy of stop and smell the flowers. And here we have this element of letting this new perspective float in. It's like grounding yourself to, like, understanding the roots, but also just letting yourself naturally expand without restriction, without these sort of like fears and traumas. Like a deep breath and let it out and let go. Like a release. Okay, so that's it. If you want to get a personal reading, you can hit me up, thecatcamebackatcamp@gmail.com. I have a complete list of readings and how much they cost in the description box of my infomercial video. It's like a guide and tutorial to what I have and where it's at. The thumbnail for that looks like this. It's also linked below here. If you want to see the readings in action, I do have an entire playlist that's the readings for sale that you can see the samples. So check out my playlists tab, check out my discussion tab. You can check me out at these fine locations. under my different usernames. I have some Amazon coloring books and a poetry book. I've got some art in my catalog. It's mostly psychedelic. If you have any questions or anything, just email me. Again, that's thecatcamebackatcamp@gmail.com. If you want to contribute to my channel, that's paypal.me/cattheminion. I also have Cash App and Venmo. Those are Cat the Minion as well. So stay groovy, and we'll see you later. Bye.